So, welcome back to Gen Sports Corner for another edition. We have breaking news today. Ryan Garcia's B samples for his urine test came back positive for the banned performance enhancing drug called OSTARINE. His A sample came up positive a month or two ago. I don't remember the date. And he requested a testing of his B sample, and they said they would perform it on the 22nd with a representative of his camp present to make sure everything is everything. So one of his lawyers was present for the examination, and the samples came back positive. So he is positive for OSTARINE. We don't know in what amounts or what concentration that was found in that sample, but it was over the threshold, let's say. So you have that. Furthermore, Ryan Garcia, he came out and they released a statement. So Ryan Garcia, he came out and he vehemently denied any wrongdoing in this case. And he was pretty adamant talking about, look, I don't know where the adverse finding came from. Told to ESPN on Sunday when he was out at the fight, the Usyk Fury fight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And he was ringside at that fight, and he said, honestly, bro, I don't. I was taking ashwagandha, D3, vitamin D3, omega-3, fatty acids, just normal stuff. I don't know what the F OSTARINE is. I have seriously no idea. I would tell everybody the truth. And he said, my whole thing is I'd rather tell the truth than to fabricate it with a lie, because lies don't stand. So if I really did take it, I would be like, honestly, I was going through a weird situation and I wasn't really that confident. I chose to take it. I'm sorry. That's it. I didn't, and I hate cheating. All I can say is legal team, help me figure this out. So part of his legal team, he has a 4-member legal team, and one of those members, Darren Chavez, he told ESPN in a formal hearing with the New York State Athletic Commission that he's setting a meeting to absolve him of any wrongdoing, Ryan Garcia. So what he said was, soon after being notified of his positive test, I don't know if this is the A sample or the recent B sample, Ryan voluntarily had his hair collected and shipped to Dr. Pascal Kentz, the foremost expert in toxicology and hair sample analysis, Chavez said. So I'm going to assume this is after the A sample came up positive. So when they requested the B sample concurrently, they most likely sent out a hair sample for testing. And they sent this to Dr. Pascal Kentz, who is one of the leading experts in toxicology and hair sample analysis. And Chavez said that the results of Ryan's hair sample came back negative. And he said, we are certain that one of the natural supplements Ryan was using in the lead up to the fight will prove to be contaminated, and we're in the process of testing the supplements to determine the exact source. The commission issued a statement Thursday saying that the matter is still under review. Furthermore, Devin Haney put in a request to have his loss overturned to a disqualification for Ryan Garcia so that he could keep his unbeaten record. So you have a lot of different moving pieces here, but that hair sample test, that's a doozy. That's a doozy, and I'll tell you why. So for the urine samples, they can immediately test that and see, okay, you have this concentration of substance X in your body. You're either above, at, or below the threshold. There is no way around it. But with the hair sample test, that allows you to see, to a certain extent, how far back. I think 6 to 12 months back, you can see if they had traces of that substance in their system. And they used to do this for marijuana tests when marijuana was illegal, for government agencies. So in addition, or in lieu of the urine test, some government agencies will also request a hair follicle test. And they would do that because you can't hide long-term usage, because a lot of these different substances, they don't just stay in the bloodstream or certain parts of the body. They have systemic effects typically. Even if they're not large-scale systemic effects, they're still circulating throughout the body. So you'll find them in different tissue types from time to time. And with marijuana, it's fat soluble, so a lot of times you'll find it in the fat cells, and you'll also find it in the hair and the nails. So if you had, let's say, a smoking binge 3 4 months ago, it might not show up in your urine test, but it will definitely show up in the hair follicle test, which is pretty sensitive. So if that's true, if that's the case, that's going to lend credence to Ryan Garcia's story. He could say, listen, I came up positive in my A and B samples for OSTARINE. I want to see the results and see what the concentration is. If it's low enough where I can say that contamination is plausible, well, here I have my hair follicle test. And then he's also going to be requesting that the supplements he was taking be tested for the presence of OSTARINE as well. So if he's able to get those tested, and they come back positive for trace or larger amounts of OSTARINE, in my opinion, that's a pretty damn strong case. He could say, listen, there's high evidence of cross-contamination from supplements, or here's a paper from Dr. Kent's. Where's it at? Dr. Pascal Kent's. I was actually reading this, I think, when the story broke, because I was looking up OSTARINE to see what it is. And he actually had an article out in April of 2024, and it said, and it's named Evidence of OSTARINE Cross-Contamination via Sweat in 2 athletes sharing the same neoprene hamstring sleeves. Not any drinks or beverages or water bottles, not any needles, or no, sleeves, like the ones that Iverson used to wear when he used to be, knocking down shots. Those type of sleeves, like neoprene sleeves. An original situation of drugs transfer where the anti-doping rule violation was suspended by sports authorities. So 2 athletes that originally got dinged for OSTARINE, only to be found that there was cross-contamination, probably with one of the athletes. They shared the sleeve, and the sweat from the sleeve was able to get into the system of the other athlete, and boom, now all of a sudden he's popping positive, or she's popping positive for traces of OSTARINE. So this is all going to be a fascinating story. As it develops, there are new twists and wrinkles that I couldn't anticipate, and I would assume many of you guys couldn't anticipate. So let me know what you guys think of that. And then secondly, I want to go over to the aftermath of the Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury fight from Saturday. I've been real busy this week, so I haven't had a chance to give my breakdown of the fight and post-fight analysis, but I'll say it like this. For those of you that are not on my YouTube channel, go subscribe and look at my video, my prediction video for that fight. And you'll see where I break down the tale of the tape and all the different attributes and who I think is going to win. And I said very explicitly going into this fight on Saturday that, and I shared Tony Bellew's sentiments, if he wasn't 6'8", this would not be a competitive fight. Because skill-wise, Oleksandr Usyk is a level or 2 above Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a very good boxer. He has a good fighting mind, comes from a fighting family. He has the background for it. But Oleksandr Usyk, he does a lot of things very, very well, which is not common to find in a fighter. He reminds me of a smaller fighter like Lomachenko, who's able to go up in weight and still whoop up on bigger guys that weigh more than him because he's just a more technically proficient fighter. And I noticed the same things in Usyk, and at the end of my video, in my prediction, I said, I see this very clearly. If Oleksandr Usyk is able to get his head off the center line and change angles, it's not going to be a close fight, or at least it shouldn't be. If Tyson Fury is not able to keep him at range, and if he doesn't have the gas tank to keep popping that jab out and do it with conviction, it's going to get bad for him quick. And it ended up that way after the 6th round. First 3 rounds were Usyk, second 3 rounds were Fury, and then round 7, Fury won, but you started to see Oleksandr Usyk find some things. And what he started to do was he started changing levels, high, low, going high, going low with the punches, in addition to moving off the center line. And what that does is it adds an additional component that you have to account for. Now, dealing with this is already hard enough, but when you're doing this and now you're changing levels, and then you come back here and you're changing, throwing low, now you're going to start opening some chinks in the armor. And he did that, and then that's why it started to get bad, because he had the gas tank and Fury started to slow down, and then Usyk started to really change levels along with changing angles, and it got rough. It got rough. So I had it scored 8-4 for Oleksandr Usyk. So first three to Usyk, next three to Fury, next four to Fury, and then 9, 10, and 11 to Usyk. So that's 6, and then 12 to 9, 10, 11. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah. Then 7. So I had Tyson Fury up 4-3 after 7 rounds. And then I had him losing 9, 10, and 11. So that would have it as 6-4 for Usyk. Round 8 he lost as well. So that's 7-4 for Usyk. And then 8-4 with the knockdown. And then 8-5 with the 12th round that Fury was able to win. So I had an 8-5 for Usyk. That's the way I saw it. I thought that he took over in the second half of the fight, similar to the way that Lomachenko did against Devin Haney, and I used that as an example. So I thought it would play out the same way, and it kind of did. It's pretty eerie because I view Usyk as the larger version of Lomachenko. Ironically, they're both Ukrainian. So, great fight. Look, Tyson Fury thought he won. I think that's just the results of him being concussed and having the adrenaline flowing immediately after the fight. And then he probably maybe reevaluated his opinions later. But either way, he reenacted that rematch clause for either September or October. And they're going to clash again in Saudi Arabia. But what that does, I want, for those that care about the belts, give me your opinion on this, because Oleksandr Usyk got stripped of one of his titles, the IBF belt. So you have the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, and the WBC belts. He got stripped of the IBF belt because by enacting the rematch clause, he won't be able to defend his IBF title against the mandatory challenger, who would be either Daniel Dubois, a rematch with Dubois in June, whenever, or Filip Hrgović. Either one of those guys, I would assume, would be his mandatories. And he can't fight them because he's obligated contractually to fight Tyson Fury. This is what we saw with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford got stripped of the IBF belt for different reasons. I mean, he went too long without fighting, but something has to be done about these belts in boxing, because who the hell, no disrespect, but we know that Oleksandr Usyk is the best. He literally just fought the other best guy to become undisputed. The winner is the consensus best heavyweight in the world. So why the fuck do we want to see Daniel Dubois and Hrgović fight for that belt? I want to see them fight, but not for that belt. It belongs to Usyk. What are we even doing here? So boxing giveth and it taketh away. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think of that. And that's pretty much all I have for this episode. We're obviously not going to have the Better Biev and B-Ball fight coming up because Better Biev blew his knee out. He tore the meniscus. So, I'll sit back and look at what fights are left on the schedule for this year, and then I'll cover those. But let me know what you guys think of the test results for Ryan Garcia, as well as the aftermath of the Usyk and Fury fight. And then what do you think about Usyk losing his IBF title? All right, so that's it for tonight. We're going to be back with some Eagles stuff as well, probably on the weekend. They signed John Ross to a 1-year tryout contract, and Jalen Hurts, there was a video put out of him running in practice, and he looks healthy. That knee looks like it did 2 or 3 years ago. So fascinating stuff coming up with this NFL football season. And then obviously with the Raiders finally restocking on offense with that tight end, that boy's gonna be a beast, man. That boy's gonna be a beast. I keep forgetting his name, but you know, the monster out of Georgia. He is going to be an absolute nightmare. Georgia just keeps producing these guys. Between him with the Raiders and then Jalen Carter with my Eagles, we have some future superstars on our hands. So that's what's going on with football, and we'll get to that, man. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.